Once again, it is that time of the year. The PWI 500 is out, and the DJP review the top 10. This is the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast Dark Match PWI 500. Here we go.
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie? Why? I'm better than you. My eyes are red. I was in the back smoking a joint with Van Dam. You know it.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm your boy, Stevie Jobber.
And I'm your boy, Dangerous Duke.
And welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
And the PWI 500 has finally arrived. The actual magazine won't be out until December, but they put the list out in September, and we are here to talk about it because by December, no one will care.
Basically.
The magic of the internet. So we got 2 honorable mentions like we do every year, and we start from 10 and work our way down to 1. And maybe we'll write an article on the website this year for it since we do them every year. But let's get cracking. I figure 1 honorable mention, and then we start at number 10.
Okay. Who do you want to kick it off with the honorable mention, me or you?
I'll kick it off. I got the later ones.
Okay.
Number 1, first shout out is AJ Francis, number 126. I'm doing AJ Francis because he just had a good year. It was his first year on his own that he was really able to be taken seriously. Match of the year for me definitely had to be the fight for the Boom Fight Club.
Yes.
They did a terrific job on that. And like I said, it's probably the best AJ Francis match I've seen him have. But not to discredit the multitude of things he's done through the year. Hijacking the Boom Fight Club, yes, but also being the guy feuding with Joe Hendry every week while he was blowing up, which I feel like is not shed enough light on, like on the actual program where Hendry was being featured. Most of the time, it was against AJ Francis while that song was blowing up. So he was kind of carrying that through TNA at the time. So you gotta give more credit to AJ. He kind of came in as soon as he hit the indies and really planted his feet and has done nothing but grow.
Yeah, AJ Francis did have himself a phenomenal year. That's a respectable pick. So my first honorable mention, I'm going a little bit higher just because I want to give this man his flowers while he's still doing his business. At number 22, I'm going with Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. And I'm picking Dolph because the dude, he literally took a gamble on himself to see if he still has it, and he showed he still has it. The man became world champion for TNA, which a lot of people might say, it's TNA, anybody could be a world champion there, but he showed his you-know-what off in some of these matches he's had for TNA. He showed that he still is the master of that 2.5 kick out. He showed he can still go, even with being older. And the year he had was just great, man. And I can't not shed some light on it and let it be known. So, number 22, Nick Nemeth. He's my first honorable mention shout-out.
Yeah, man, that's true. And what number did you say he was at again?
22.
22. I mean, 22 is high. 22 is high. No, it's top 25.
I mean, considering where he was the year before.
Yeah. Considering where some other people have been. But much credit to Nick. Much credit to Nick. You're absolutely right. He's had a phenomenal year. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Yeah, Nick has had a tremendous year as far as establishing himself as a legitimate main eventer again. Definitely. So number 10, speaking of guys and getting into the list of who deserves what and how much they've done in the year, number 10 is Mystico, formerly Sin Cara. How do you feel about Mystico at number 10, knowing the rest of the list? Duke, I'll let you go first because I know I have my thoughts.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise. Did he have a good year? Yeah, sure. Did I think it was top 10 worthy? Not really, not at all. Um, I don't want to, bury Mystico here, but so many other guys I think could have been in the top 10 above him. I mean,
Mhm.
just looking at the list in front of me right now, I mean, you could go anywhere from 11 to like 17 and interchange with either one of those guys. You got Joe at 11, Sammy, Drew, Danielson, Moose, Jay. Like, you telling me none of those guys had a better year than Mystico? Pretty sure that all of them did. So I don't know why Mystico made the top 10. But hey, I mean, congrats to Mystico, I guess.
Yeah, Mystico. Even I had to look back and be like, wait a minute, like number 10, he is MLW middleweight champion, but I've seen a lot of guys be middleweight champion and not be number 10.
Yes.
Um, I even thought, because you go all the way back to 17. 17's Jay, who I felt like should have been much higher for the momentum he's ended up carrying through the year.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to figure out these time frames. But even still, Jay at 17, and then I looked at 18. If you look at 18, 18's healed over Kingo.
Yeah.
And I thought they were really high on Yodova and Kingo like all year. And he
Mm-hmm.
was a AAA world champion.
Right.
Surely, if anybody was going to be the CMLL or AAA, you know what I mean? If they were going to pick anybody from the more Latin indies, I would have thought maybe him. So to pass Vikingo up for Mystico at 10, with how much we were singing his praises just a short while ago when he was the showcase guy, it's kind of surprising.
I'll do you one better. Name me one Mystico match you remember from this year.
I know he fought Atlantis, and he
Okay.
fought with Atlantis. I didn't see them.
Okay. Atlantis. How many Samoa Joe matches can you name me this year? Probably
Oh
more than
man,
one.
yeah,
How many
yeah, yeah.
how many Sami Zayn matches can you name me?
A
Probably
few,
more than one.
yeah.
McIntyre, Danielson, Moose. I'm pretty sure you can name me more than one match with all of those guys.
Moose has had some terrific ones,
That's
some
that's
bangers this year.
that's my case right there. How is he number 10? If somebody can name more than one mystical match, please put it in the comments.
This had to be a sympathy vote, and I don't. Again, like we don't say this to kick Mysticals back in, but come on, come on, come on,
But it
come
gets
on.
better.
Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali was 19. I thought Mustafa Ali had a much better year in the same kind of Nick Nemeth way of just establishing himself as such a bigger star
Yeah.
than he was previous. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Gunther, number 9. I considering the rest of the list, I maybe switch him out for 8, maybe even 7, debatably. I 6. 6. I
Yeah.
would say 6. I would say
So
6. I would say 6,
s-
maybe even
um
5.
maybe
This
even
is crazy.
4.
9 is crazy. 9 is
Maybe
crazy.
maybe even 4.
I'm going to sound
No,
like such a WWE stan, but
but in all seriousness, though, I mean, Gunther's been on a run of a lifetime, dude. Like he's literally been on a historic stretch, and again, not to knock any of the guys above him, but I feel like he's had a better year than a good majority of them.
yeah.
So he's in the top 10. Great. I'm happy for him. He should be deservingly in the top 10. Borderline top 5 for sure. Actually, yeah, no, take that back. Top 5. But still, I can't complain. They got him in the top 10, so I'm relatively happy.
Yeah, I have no doubt that probably by next year, he might even be number one, considering how his title reign goes. If they can find anyone to stop him.
Could be.
But I mean, come on, number 9, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna sound like such a WWE stain here, but guys, he's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion
And
of
then he
all
won,
time.
and then he won King of the Ring right after, and then won the world title
What
right after.
he was the longest reign. He was a Hall of Famer in April.
Yes.
He cemented being a Hall of Famer in April, then won King of the Ring.
Yes.
Then I won the championship. And I'm 9? On paper, statistically, I'm unstoppable, and you have me at 9?
You got
Come
me
on,
wedged.
guys.
You got me wedged in between the Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn, and Sin Cara.
Come on, guys. Come on.
That's the tagline for
9?
this right there.
9? And we'll get into the other guys later. But
Yeah.
and not to kick y'all backs in either. But Moxley, come on. Not to say that Moxley hasn't been doing anything. Of course, Moxley's been doing. Of course, Moxley's been great. But come on, MJF hadn't even been here for most of the year. Like Damian Priest, yes, he's great, but he just lost to Gunther, and what we all knew was going to be a smash. Like we all figured, oh, this is a no brainer. So,
well, I guess since you kind of. I was gonna say, since you kind of let the cat out of the bag here, number 8, Moxley.
Yes, it's Moxley.
So I agree, Mox had a good year. More for his brand than his actual company was the kind of years how I would describe it for Mox.
That's what I would describe it as.
But again, not upset that it was more of a for the brand year for him than the company, because the dude's been carrying the company, and now they're finally at a place where they can let somebody else carry it a little bit. So what's he gonna do? He's gonna go into business for himself. He's gonna go out and do other stuff and venture into the other places, which is fine. He's earned that right for carrying AEW for 5 years. So 8 is good for him, but it's not good for Gunther to be at 9 and below him. So yeah, the number 8 ranking, I don't have a problem with. It's just the person that's right below him. For me.
Yeah, it's only in light of the other people on the list that I feel like I understand 8, but I don't necessarily agree with 8.
Just because of who's around him.
And I gotta put it this way, because I feel like the Moxley Orange Cassidy match was this year, right? I feel like.
I believe so.
And that was kind of the peak of that. I feel like of Moxley this year in ring. Was probably him and Orange Cassidy when they cemented the importance of that championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. But to put it in retrospect, Cassidy's 24. Like for Moxley to solidify a mid-card title at the top of his, like, it is a brand thing. Like, he ultimately became more respected for what he is in the company, but in retrospect, maybe 9 is a little much as far as on paper where the people should be.
Yeah.
But I guess that leads us to 7 as for where your status outside of the business should put you on the list.
Yeah. Number 7, MJF. Look, we love MJF, man. And again, we're going to sound like WWE stands here, but what did he do this year? Besides when the title, as soon as he came back and then dropped it right again as soon as he won it, right? That was
Yeah,
pretty. That was the extent of his year. He came
yeah.
back like he's been part time, and you got him at 7.
I mean,
For all that, you could have put Logan at 7 if you wanted to put a part timer up there, you know. And I know it sounds really bad. I just compared MJF and Logan, but again, there's people that could have been higher. I don't even think MJF needed to make the top 10 this year.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did because he hasn't been around. Like, I mean, come
No.
on, man. He wasn't around. He just came back. He came back, beat a guy he probably shouldn't have beat for a title he probably didn't need because he kind of just dropped it again to catapult somebody else. Like,
It's a weird spot. It's a weird spot.
if Charlotte did it, she'd be further down the list. And not to compare MJF to Charlotte, but Charlotte is like that for the women's division. When they need a turbo boost to get them through the next couple months, they call Charlotte.
Yes.
That's pretty much what this was. You were out all year, and then you came back to get a bunch of other people over in the span of like 5 matches.
Yeah, he was
Like,
their turbo boost. That's
how does
really
that
all he's.
equivalate you to number 7?
I don't know, man. Meltzer privilege.
Doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I don't want to sound like the WWE guy, but I mean, come on. Yeah, come on, man. There's other guys on this list that probably should be higher from AEW. I just feel like MJF is getting by on his name. Like,
Yeah.
if I was to pick a guy, because I should probably pick a guy, right? I wouldn't pick Joe. Because it's not like Joe held it for so long. Joe played more of a Moxley role. And I'm argumentative about Moxley's spot anyway. So 11, he kind of played the Moxley role. I understand why he would be that high. He was world champion. He carried it, but everybody knew he was carrying it because MJF ultimately let the ball go for the contract status and everything and the
But
injuries, whatever.
but he did carry it well.
But he did carry it well. I can't even give you Sami Zayn. I'd probably put Moose in that spot.
Right? Moose had a great year.
Because Moose had a great year. Like, people don't understand. Slammiversary, he forms the group that would then carry NXT. I mean, not NXT, TNA. That would then carry TNA, probably because he's still champ, right? No, Nemeth is champ. All the way until Nemeth became champ.
Mm-hmm.
And Nemeth just recently became champ. So,
Yeah, within like the last month.
yeah. So, Moose in the system kind of carried that whole stretch of time.
Mm-hmm.
He really ruled TNA with an iron fist for like a good
Couple
I can't
months.
put a timestamp on it, but a good
It's a
run
good
of
couple
months.
months.
A good run of months because it started at Slammiversary
Yeah.
into the merger, right? Because it was right after the merger. It was right after they kind of had that new deal, and they either right before or right after they kicked D'Amore out the door. I don't want to say it that way, but
Still
since
confusing.
right after that, right after they redefined themselves and rebranded as TNA, Moose got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Moose held the ball until they gave it to Nemeth. Moose should probably be higher than 15. I would probably put Moose at that MJF spot because he was there all year and he held the ball all year. Like, where's the credit for the people
Yeah.
holding the ball in the company? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird to me. It's weird to me.
But speaking of people that were holding the ball for the company, that's a great segue to number 6.
Number 6, Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, formerly of the Judgment Day, World Heavyweight Champion.
Senior Money in the Bank.
Cashed in at WrestleMania.
Cashed in at WrestleMania. I like this spot for Priesty, man. Priesty had himself a great year. Priesty did some great stuff. The cash in was a nice touch at Mania, and then he had a nice little run with the belt. And then he was there. How do you describe it? He was their Iron Man for a little bit. He was always competing. He wasn't one of them champions that, took a night off or took a week off. He was competing every week in the ring and putting on quality stuff. And then even now, when he's not the champion, still putting on quality matches. So I think number 6 for him is great.
I think this is where I'm going to sound a little hypocritical. Even though I feel like Gunther should probably be in his spot on the list, Gunther's Damian Priest has done top 10 work this year consistently. And that's kind of been, I think, how he earned this championship, even through Money in the Bank, because the Judgment Day, for less or worse, probably, well, for more or less, probably for more than rather than less. The Judgment Day has kind of been running Raw for the past couple years.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Mm-hmm. And while Bloodline was running Raw, or while Bloodline was on SmackDown running SmackDown, they were the faction on Raw doing their stuff.
Right? Since Dom getting into the group, to them shaping Dom, Rhea becoming a monster, the JD phase, the R-Truth phase, now the breakup phase,
Carlito,
the Rey Mysterio rematches, Carlito being added, the feud with LWO.
They've done some great things, man.
They've done great things, and Damien's been a workhorse throughout all of those things. So he's earned that spot, and he earned the title, and he showed up every week. He's done that Seth Rollins workhorse. He's that kind of a guy.
Yeah.
So I credit him with that. So he has earned it. I'm not gonna say he hasn't earned it. I'm just saying I think as a character, Gunther would probably have to be in that spot a little.
I know what you mean.
But you're absolutely right. Credit to Damian Priest. He's done all the work to earn number 6.
Yeah, and then at number 5 we have Tetsuya Naito.
Interesting. He's had an interesting year. I know listen. This is one of those things for me where he's gotten that spot, and I don't see. This is crazy because I feel like now I looked at this list generally like this is an okay list, but now that we're talking about it, I see all the little bitty things you can pick out. I know you would fight for Tetsuya Naito to probably not be at 5, but I think Tetsuya gets this spot based off the credibility he had coming rather than the success of becoming champion. Becoming champion just happened to be that thing for him. But I think it's all the people being extremely happy to finally see Naito get the ball. That's what it is.
No, yeah, and it's not that I don't want to say that I'm upset that Naito's at 5 because I'm not. Naito had a great year for New Japan. He's been there, for no pun intended. He's been their ace when the ace left, and he's done great stuff with his faction. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I always butcher it. But again, the world title run, I think it's like a record. I think they said it's like a record tying run or something that he's on right now. I forget, but he's doing great stuff. And New Japan doesn't really have a lot of eyes on it, but the few eyes that are on it from the States, people are tuning in to see Naito. And when you can have like other countries just watching the product strictly for you, that warrants some credibility. It'd be like wrestling fans in Russia tuning into the WWE just to watch John Cena. Or just to watch Cody Rhodes. So if he can have fans tuning in from other countries just to watch him, he's definitely done something right, and he's earned his spot. And as a world champion, he's earned it. So I have no complaints with Naito at 5.
And that's all it is. I think it's just the credit of him winning it and holding it this long. And I think you're right because they combined it and a combined it's over 160. Um, so he's been on a run, and it's just I see where the difficulty comes in
Mm-hmm.
because there isn't a lot of eyes, and that's the hard part about. Well, at least I guess is us not being not having the bandwidth to also carry wherever you would find
Yeah,
New Japan streaming, is that you don't necessarily get the eyes to be able to know how great of work he's been doing
yeah.
consistently. So it's tough to argue against the other guys, but I like being
I
a
trust the
personal fan of
judgment.
Naito.
Yeah,
I
I
like that.
trust the judgment.
Um, so moving from that, number where are we at now? 4. Number 4 being, hold on one
Oh,
second. Do you got it?
oh
I'm
yeah, I got it.
I was
Number
looking up
four.
Naito's reign.
Number four is Seth
Seth
Rollins.
freaking Rollins. All right, I'll kick this one off and then you
Go
can
ahead.
finish with Seth Rollins.
Go ahead.
Because I don't have a lot to say. Seth did everything he was supposed to do. Seth's been Seth Rollins. Seth has been peak Seth Rollins because now he doesn't hide behind a character. Seth Rollins now is just kind of he's transcended. he's transcended all different Seth Rollins characters into being Seth freaking Rollins. And he's just been a workhorse. He's been doing everything they need him to do, and he's
Man,
on that spot. He's not necessarily top guy because that's Roman, but as far as he's the Triple H, he's the Triple H.
man.
He's the Triple H. Like he's that guy that doesn't necessarily have to get all the spotlight, but is there whenever you need him at whatever level you need him at to be the best performer of the night. That's just what he is. He's proved himself to be the workhorse for years.
I am super conflicted,
Mm.
and it's not for bad reasons.
Oh yeah, not to mention WrestleMania.
Yeah, and again, this is why I'm conflicted. So he's again, to your credit, like you said, he's done everything he needed to do. He's been a workhorse, but he's been, and again, this is not his fault. Not trying to kick a man while he's down, but he's been a bit of a one-legged workhorse.
One-legged workhorse.
But again, like you said, he's been carrying the company. He's been doing his thing. He's been being Triple H. He's in his Triple H bag right now, but he's been doing it hurt, and he kind of like burned himself out. Like after Mania, we didn't see much of him, and then he came back to referee a match, and then that was it. But for the first half of the year in the beginning before Mania, he was great. Great
Because
enough
remember,
to
he had just beat AJ for the world title.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like, is it
And had that crazy run.
Great enough to keep him in the top 5? I don't know, but it's a weird thing. Like he had a great year for when he was here. It's just I think it's for the consistency. He wasn't around the second part of the year. Maybe it'll change as the months end, but who knows? But that's why I'm conflicted.
You have a problem that we have with multiple people on this list.
Yeah,
He just wasn't around long enough for you.
Yeah, that's all it is for me. Not mad at being in the top 10, but just a little high.
I'll say this. I'll say as far as people that were pillars that came back for the sake of the company to hold it up. If you were to put those guys on a list, I think Seth is number 1.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Pillar of a company, Seth number 1.
So, because we've joked about it with Moxley multiple times that they just won't let him take a break.
Yeah.
And my argument this year is that they let him take a break.
Yeah. And that's where we're at with Seth now. They won't let him take a break. They won't let him take a break, and then he finally took a break.
He's literally Iron Man, dude. He literally
Yeah.
gave up, blew himself up for the
He
sake
did.
of
He definitely did.
story continuity. He was Loki in our.
You know what?
Well, he was Iron Man, but he was also like Loki. If
You know
you watch
what?
the Loki time series, he just kind of wrapped the whole universe back together.
You know what? If you're gonna put it that way and try to channel my inner nerd here, keep Seth at 4. I'm fine with it.
I only say that because I keep thinking of, whenever I think of Seth now, I think of Seth after WrestleMania just being like completely destroyed.
Yeah, he was
Because he
Loki.
sacrificed himself.
He was Loki, God of Stories, just holding the branches together
And
and then
he
just
was
watching it.
he's looking up at his friends like it had to be done. Like
Don't get me emotional. Let's go to number
All
3.
right.
You're gonna get me emotional.
All right.
Damn it,
Number
Loki.
3, the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. Where are you at? I don't have much.
Yes, this is spectacular. Give me 14 of them. This was good. Ospreay had a great year. He did great stuff. Was definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world this year. Still is one of the best wrestlers in the world this year as we're talking and hashing this list out.
Yeah.
Definitely probably had the second best year of anybody in AEW. There's one other guy who's probably had a better year, arguably. Actually, not even arguably. There's one guy who's had a better year than him, but other than that, Ospreay has been great. His matches have been top tier.
Mm-hmm.
His little dig at Triple H for grinding on the boss's daughter was hilarious. Yeah. So Ospreay at 3, I'm cool.
Ospreay's probably the best wrestler on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some guys in WWE I would like to see him mix it up with for proof, but internationally, yeah, mainly.
I had to sneeze there. Sorry.
Mainly, I know there's another guy, a little further back on the list than we would like to admit.
Yeah,
that he could probably be going up against to test that theory, but a Seth Rollins would be nice to see him go up against. Mm-hmm. Even a Nick Nemeth would be nice to see him go up against. There's still a couple names out there. There's still a couple names out there that I consider some of the absolute best in the world at what they do. Dude, yes, Daniel Bryan is over there. Daniel Bryan is on that list for me. But the Daniel Bryan, Nick Nemeth at this level,
we need a
Seth Rollins at this level. These are the guys I still think he has to prove himself against. But as of today, internationally, Will Ospreay is the best wrestler on the planet. And it's crazy that he's at number 3 for that, but the other two simply have better characters.
Yeah, better characters and have had better years.
They just beat you. They beat you at characters and accomplishments.
Yeah.
But Will Ospreay is undoubtedly the best wrestler on the planet to me today.
So I guess that takes us to number 2.
Number 2, Swerve Strickland, former AEW World Champion. I don't know. I'll let you finish. I'll start because I don't have much to say on Swerve. Swerve has changed my perspective. In the swing of AEW changing its booking, and I don't agree with Edge. Edge had a quote saying that he thinks AEW focus more on stories than wrestling. That's a lie.
That is a lie.
But you're a company guy, so I know what you have to do. But
you've also had a lot of concussions.
a lot of neck injuries. But Swerve has Swerve, pun intended, has driven me into a lane where I feel like everything is coming together for AEW on his back. Much like I felt with MJF, but this one feels like it stretches more than just his segments. Like the betterment of AEW has come while Swerve has been champ, which really is what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's proven himself to be is the crazy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
As close to Cody Rhodes for AEW as possible. Um, Swerve has behind the scenes been the guy to say, where do you need me? What does the card need? How do we make the show better? What's best for the story? While I don't believe he was always the pick because MJF left with Samoa Joe holding the title and they were kind of left in this ether where they didn't know who was next and they were throwing people at the wall. And at the time, Swerve had taken off alongside Hangman Page for their rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And because of Swerve's song taking off, I felt like he got launched into the main event scene because they felt like now it's time to do that because we found a guy with the momentum. But Swerve has done all the work behind the scenes to become the champion you're supposed to be. So I give it to him. I give it to him.
I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet. Literally everything you just said is my reason why Swerve should be number one. Everything you just said
That's
is why.
debatable. I'll give you
Everything
that.
you just
That's
said is why
debatable.
Swerve should be number one. Nothing against the guy who's number one. He had a great year. He's
Yeah.
a WWE guy. You know we love our WWE, but I gotta give the credit where the credit's due. I gotta shine the light on it. Swerve had probably the best year out of anybody. Granted, Cody's great moments, but Swerve just he tapped into something we didn't know he had.
Yeah.
Cody, within the last couple years, you could tell it was gonna be there, just a matter of when. Swerve, nobody knew. Nobody knew it was gonna be there. It was by like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just great. It was amazing. It was like opening your fridge thinking you have no food in there, and then oh my god, you have a buffet. It's like going in your
Yeah.
pocket and knowing you're broke and you pull out $100 bill. It's like, oh wow, this is lovely. Where did this come from? This is great. Swerve had the best year. Swerve should be my number one, and that's it. But you know, it is what it is.
All right. All right. I think we have a poll for this pod now.
Who should be
But
number one?
who should be number one? Is number one, or is he number two?
I don't know.
Is Cody Drake or Kendrick? Number one, Cody Rhodes, big as the what? So the WWE Universal Champion beats the unconquerable Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in Philly, night 2, after almost losing the main event to The Rock and getting dog walked for it, as Jacob Fatu would say. Winning the title, going on what people have called a very arguable, debatable reign. And now number one on the PWI. Where do you stand? Well, we know where you stand, but what are your comments on Cody's run this year?
It's not a bad run. I don't have a complaint with Cody's run. I don't understand why some people are complaining about it, saying that it's like meh. The only thing I'm not liking is I respect you. I respect you. I want to fight you. I want to fight you. Let's fight. That's it. The matches haven't been bad. They haven't been bad matches. They've been fairly decent, pretty good, if I might say. It's just been the build into these matches that I haven't liked. Which, you know, sometimes that happens. It's okay, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the story's not going to be great, but as long as the match is good, we can make up for the story. But again, like I said, he'd be my number 2. Swerve would be my 1. And then, I mean, I have a true number 1, but Swerve would be the number 1.
Right. So Swerve is your number 1.
Yes.
Oh, let's do one more honorable mention. We missed our second honorable mention getting caught up. So we'll do our second honorable mention.
I was gonna say you can give your Cody point and then we can save it for the end.
Well, I don't think I had one. Cody's had a great year.
Oh.
I just think Cody's had a great year. I think what everyone else thinks. It's been a little debatable.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the most outrageous of storytelling, but it happens.
Yeah.
He hasn't unearned the spot by any means. I still think if anybody's gonna hold that title, it's gonna be Cody, and I think it's gonna be Cody for a while, just because I don't. As much as everyone has a problem with the run,
Yeah.
I feel like if the title was to change hands, we'd all be up in arms.
Yeah. More than
And
likely.
we'd probably know in a couple months that it was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So for better or worse, I think Cody should be number one because Cody's the guy. But then again, we've argued about, the Ironmans and, the best wrestlers and the guys that have actually come from the bottom. And I'm not necessarily a Captain America guy by chance, more of a heel by nature. So I could see everyone else's argument. But
Yeah.
Cody is, because we've crowned Cody the guy, we can't now take it back and be like, oh
No, yeah, and
you know what I
I
mean?
don't think we're trying to take it back.
But I totally debate. I totally see your debate in Swerve Strickland. And as a fan of a guy with stories, that is a much greater story.
Yeah.
In that span of a year, at least, you know what I mean? But I think that does it. I'm gonna get to my last honorable mention, and then we'll get out of here. Number 79, the new GCW champion, Mance Warner. I wanted to shout him out just because I'll be honest, I wasn't keeping super tabs on Mance Warner. So when he won the GCW championship, of course, with the help of Matt Cardona, I was like, okay, what has Mance been up to that I missed in GCW? Because I know him from MLW, where he's big, but he's not, he's not world champion big. So it was a little crazy to see him win that title. But shout out to him because he's come a long way. He's come a long way. So
yeah.
Shout out to Mance Warner 79.
And then for my last honorable mention, I had somebody else in mind, but you know what? I'm gonna pick this other person here, and he's at number 31. Tag team specialist, due to tragedy, had to come in and be a singles guy, and you know what? He's been a damn entertaining singles guy. So I'm gonna go my honorable mention, number 31 on the PWI, Mark Mother Briscoe. This dude has been killing it, man. He's been the ROH champ for a little bit. He's been doing funny stuff with what's his name? My boy Kyle O'Reilly. I love seeing that. The way Kyle O'Reilly kind of just follows him around, like, I will follow this man everywhere. It's Mark's been doing great things, man. He's been making Big Brother proud, and I want to see what the rest of his year entails and what his future shows, because I feel like he could be an even bigger champion. So I'm gonna go with Mark Briscoe as my second honorable mention.
All right, that does it. That is our list. That is the PWI. Well, not our list. It's the PWI 500. But tell us what you think. Leave your comments, like, subscribe. Click the little link in the description so you can see all our other little things and tabs and follow all the stuff and get all the notifications for the things and do all the things. We're gonna leave a poll or leave it in the comments whether you think Swerve should be number one or Cody should be number one. I felt like we've had a great discussion. I felt like we fought and disagreed. Maybe not with each other,
on a
but
couple.
with the list.
Yeah, on a couple we disagree.
And it's rare that we get to have these little things anymore. You know, we're so comfortable now with things. We don't get to argue a lot. So this was great. This was great.
At the end of the day, as we all know, no matter what the list says for PWI, there's only one number one, and that is the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
All right. With that being said, I'm your boy Stevie Java. That's your boy Dangerous Duke. Stay up, stay blessed, and as always,
stay dangerous.
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie? Why?